Hello, this is Darice, and welcome back to Moon Life Astro on this channel. And if you're new, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. On this channel, we talk about astrology and how you can use it to support your growth as a solopreneur, entrepreneur, creative visionary. Mostly, I focus around how you can use the astrological transits around planning and productivity, but other spiritual issues and topics as well tend to arise. I'm recording this ahead of time. I'm going to be talking about Uranus moving into Gemini July 7th, 2025, and it will stay in Gemini for 7 years. So it's a pretty big transit. But before I get into that, I do ask that you like the video, subscribe to the channel. That does help me get the message out to more people. And with that, let's just get into it. Now, like I said, Uranus is going to be moving into Gemini July 7th, 2025, exact at 3:45 a.m. Eastern time. Uranus only changes a sign every 7 years. So this is a major collective and personal pivot. But before we get into what that means for us, I thought it'd be helpful to take a look back at what Uranus in Taurus has been like. And that's been from 2018 to 2025. It's interesting. I currently started my current day job at the beginning of this transit. So, and I've been through a lot of transitions and shifts during those last 7 years, both in how I see myself as a professional, the skills I've developed both in my personal job, and then deciding it was really during Uranus and Taurus that I decided I wanted to be a spiritual solopreneur, entrepreneur. I began my path at that time. Uranus can equal revolution, innovation, disruption. Taurus can be about our money, our values, how we embody that to have a sense of stability. And so what that looked like for me personally was looking at how can I have my values reflect how I show up in the world. And it became really important, like integral to me, that I create a life where I'm earning income from what matters, what values, what matters to me. I didn't want to just earn money to earn money. And even the current day job I have is in the healthcare field. And the company I work for, it supports people. You know, I'd been in sales in other areas and other industries where I didn't really care about what I was selling. It was really just about getting a check, paying the rent. And when I joined this company, it was primarily because I was really on board with their mission. And even though, like any job, I'm not crazy about a lot of other things, I'm not crazy about how we do certain things. But at the end of the day, I still support the core mission because I do feel like who I work for is doing more good than harm in the world. So Uranus and Taurus for me, that became really important to me. I realized that I was not going to be happy anywhere at a day job or in a business if I didn't fundamentally at my core feel like the work I was either doing or contributing to was making a difference in the world, on the planet, even on some small scale. So think back to what you've been through from 2018 to 2025, and how has that reflected your values? And how has that impacted how you either earn money or start your business or set up your business? How has it impacted how you've done certain things in your career in attempting to fulfill your purpose and your mission? On a collective level, we could look at during the time of Uranus's transit in Taurus, we saw the rise of digital currencies. We saw the rise of remote work, and we saw the rise of holistic business models. And it's definitely when I began to see more and more people online talking about not only being an entrepreneur, but a spiritual entrepreneur, a spiritual solopreneur, a creative visionary. That was when I first began to hear that term being used by people on social media. And I think that is all about Uranus and Taurus. So we also saw more soul aligned entrepreneurs also move away from grind culture. And that's definitely what happened for me is when I began learning about astrology and working with the cycles of the moon and being more in tune with the rhythms of nature and allowing my business, my career to follow those cycles as well. You know, it's all about moving towards sustainable, intuitive growth. And I do think that we have collectively redefined our value from it being more than just our net worth to our self worth. And even on a larger scale, where you see that's not necessarily the case, we see where that's breaking down and where people are pushing back and where people are questioning that. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how that conversation evolves as Uranus moves into Gemini. Also, Taurus can govern food, since it's a very key part of our physical stability. So we could also think back to the changes in the food supply system, people's relationships to food, organic farming, that sort of thing. And look at how your own relationship has evolved or changed around food in from 2018 to 2025. Just something to think about. And now Uranus is going to be moving into Gemini, air sign. It's going to be more about thinking and communication. So the Uranus revolution moves from stability in Taurus to thinking and communication in Gemini. In a nutshell, this next chapter is all about how we express, learn, connect, and lead. Now, Uranus is going to be entering Gemini July 7th, 2025, and it'll basically stay there until August 3rd, 2032. It will retrograde back into Uranus later this year from November 7th until April 26th, 2026. So, whatever themes that we need to complete around our journey from Uranus being in Taurus, we'll have the opportunity to revisit that later in the year, November 7th through April 26th. So this could be a good time to be thinking about what came up for you, like I said, these past 7 years. And then it's entirely possible that whatever is not finished or complete could come to completion or fruition during that retrograde. Just something to put a pin in or maybe note on your calendar. In a nutshell, Gemini is about intellect, duality, communication, commerce, technology, curiosity. So Uranus and Gemini, this is going to be a revolution in our mindset. I think we're going to see even bigger breakthroughs and evolutions in AI, communication, and how we learn, both the good things about it and the negative things about it. So I think we need to prepare ourselves for that as well. I think there are going to be deep shifts in language, messaging, marketing, and media. And as a solopreneur, a creative visionary, we can use this as a way to break free from outdated strategies. I think Uranus and Gemini is an invitation to embrace experimentation in how you teach, sell, and connect with your audience. And I think it'll be a whole new level of contemplation and exploration around our living and how we create our messages. This is going to be an evolving portal for all of us on a collective level. And we can begin to prepare for that now. And I feel like a lot of the transits that we've been through the first half of the year, a lot of that shadow work that I've been encouraging people to do, I think that's a big piece of it. Because I know for myself, as I've begun to do a lot of that shadow work, look at my own values, my own beliefs, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, I feel like it's cleared the field for me to create a stronger foundation for what I want to experience in the next 7 years in my life, both personally and professionally. And if you have not begun to do that work, it's not too late. You can definitely begin to do that shadow work now. And that could be part of the exploration for you. Really sit down and contemplate sometime this week or even over the next couple of weeks. What would you really like to experience in the next 7 years? Now, I also always think it's nice to look at the actual aspects that are happening when a planet transitions, especially during a major shift like this. I feel like the actual aspects that are happening around the time of this shift can sometimes give us clues in the themes that we'll be working with during that big transit during the next 7 years. Or at the very least, it can be an invitation to do some serious reflection, some spiritual growth around what the transit is bringing up as a way to prepare us for what we're going to be experiencing during these next 7 years. So one of the things that's going to be happening when Uranus moves into Gemini, it will be conjunct Venus. So I think that's going to help us have this new magnetic frequency. Venus is love, beauty, self-worth, attraction. And when it's conjunct with Uranus, there could be a sense of activation. We can be rewriting what we're drawn to and how we magnetize opportunities. So this could be an opportunity to look at what feels beautiful and true in your business. And also, it's an invitation to ask, what values am I no longer willing to compromise? This could be an invitation to look at how you refresh your brand voice or your offers to reflect your updated values and aesthetics. Or this could be something that you could be looking into over the next few years. At the same time, Uranus will also be opposing the moon. So this could bring up some deep emotions, intuition. You may get insight into what's going on in your inner world and how that's impacting your business or your vision. Oppositions can show us the tension that's present and where we need to have some integration happen. So you could be looking at what's that tension in your business. Where are you not feeling seen or whole in your business as you create your vision, as you live your purpose. And that emotional intensity, this could be a catalyst for looking how you redo things, how you do your business differently, how you look at how you want to show up for yourself and for your business. And on that day, July 7th, as a result of Uranus opposing the moon and Uranus moving into Gemini, you or others around you might have some intentional mood swings. So, there might be some sticky moments. So just be aware that that could possibly happen around that time. Old emotional patterns about being visible, being seen, old wounds around money or worth may arrive. And again, this is an invitation to dive deeper into that shadow work. You can use this energy as a way to liberate yourself from those old emotional contracts. And some tools to help with that, journaling, EFT or emotional freedom technique tapping, somatic body work, massage, therapy, all of the things. And then also at that same time that Uranus is moving into Gemini, it's also going to be sextiling Neptune. So Neptune, again, our dreams, our spirituality, the unseen. So Neptune sextile Uranus during all of this could help soften some of this emotional intensity. It could give us some opportunity and some grace. Uranus and Neptune coming together can also lead to some spiritual innovations. You may experience a new level of talent in your intuitive gifts. Maybe you're channeling creative bursts, maybe even experience prophetic dreams around this time. Somewhat another way to potentially work with this energy, you could create a sacred space in your week for some unstructured, inspired time. Maybe that looks like taking a walk or just having a few hours where there's nothing on the calendar and you just feel into what you want to do in that moment. Around the same time, Uranus will also be sextiling Saturn. Saturn is currently in Aries, action-oriented discipline, focused ambition. So again, the sextile is supporting you building long-term systems for your creativity. So Uranus and Gemini is a great opportunity to be willing to revise your standard operating procedures, client pathways, offer structures. Maybe set aside some time this week to look at that. You could also look at how you can align your productivity tools with who you are now, the person you're becoming, the visionary that you're becoming, not who you were. A friendly reminder, freedom doesn't mean chaos. It is the result of aligned structure. Uranus will also be trining Pluto. Pluto is currently in Aquarius, collective transformation, truth-telling, system change. So this trine with Uranus and Pluto can also bring in a sense of some natural flow. You may experience a breakthrough around your messaging and how you want to show it more authentically in your influence. For solopreneurs, your words can catalyze change. So use them with clarity and care. Ask yourself what feels true for you, what feels dangerous but true. And that's basically it. I just want to come in real quickly, give you a heads up about Uranus being in Gemini. Of course, throughout the next 7 years, we'll talk about how this unfolds, how this unpacks. It's also happening against the backdrop of Mercury in its pre-shadow retrograde period. So again, more invitation to just simply reflect, look at what's coming up for you. I'm going to have a separate video on the Mercury retrograde as well. But here are some reflection or meditation prompts to look at during this week. What stories or strategies am I ready to release? How is my business asking me to evolve in how I think and speak? What systems or structures need an upgrade to support my expansion? Where am I hiding my truth out of fear of being too much? And I'm also going to put those questions in the description box below, but I'll read them again real quick. Or you could always just pause and listen as well. But what stories or strategies am I ready to release? How is my business asking me to evolve in how I think and speak? What systems or structures need an upgrade to support my expansion? Where am I hiding my truth out of fear of being too much? So this is a reminder that this is not a time to rush or force. It's a time about getting curious, being brave, and experimental. That you're not behind. You're on the edge of something revolutionary. The next 7 years will reshape the way we think, teach, and build. And as always, I'll be with you here along the journey. Please feel free to comment below Uranus and Gemini if any of this resonated with you, if it sparked something in you. Feel free to also comment about any reflections that maybe came up for you about their time of Uranus and Taurus as well. Always wishing you love, peace, and joy. Please continue to take care of yourself. Do that self-care, the self-nurturing. We live in very stressful times as we go through all these major transitions. So always remember to take care of yourself so that you can show up for others in your life as well. And I'm wishing you love, peace, and joy. Peacefully yours, Darius.